Hello dear students, in last class we were discussed here one of the most important concepts that is quantum numbers. So in that quantum numbers we already discussed that is principal quantum number and azimuthal quantum number. So still we have two more quantum numbers guys, so we have to discuss today in this particular session. Okay, so before going to that particular concept, so we have to revise the particular means that previous concept, that is quantum number. So what is mean by quantum number means, so quantum number is nothing but here the complete description of an electron in an atom with respect to its particular energy and angular momentum and orientation of magnetic moment and spin can be given by here four numbers. Those four numbers we can call to as in here quantum numbers. So which are those four numbers guys? Means here very first one is that principal quantum number, second one azimuthal quantum number, third one magnetic quantum number, and the last but not the least one here spin quantum number. So among those four we were already discussed the two, very first two, that is principal and as well as that azimuthal quantum number guys. So let's discuss this particular section within here magnetic quantum numbers. So let's go with that here magnetic quantum number, magnetic quantum number. So guys, magnetic quantum number can be represented by the symbol here ML. See that magnetic quantum number very first was proposed by here the scientist Landé. Okay, who was proposed here magnetic quantum number? That is Landé. So he was the scientist who proposed here magnetic quantum number. So very first proposed by the scientist called Landé. Okay, so guys, as we know that here, so as here azimuthal quantum number can be depend on that particularly n value. So just like that here magnetic quantum number also can depend on that here L value. Okay, the magnetic means the value of m, m is nothing but here means ml is nothing but here magnetic quantum number. The value of magnetic quantum number can be depending on that here one particular factor, that is L value. Okay, the value of ml can be depending on that L value guys, L value. Okay, and moreover, see this particular magnetic quantum number means ml value can have that ranges in between here minus L2 plus L. Okay, let's write that particular point here, and that m value, the ml means ml value ranges from minus L2 plus L, See, the thing is that the ml value that has to be ranges from here minus L2 plus L, which means that the value of ml is directly depending on that here value of L. So based on that L value, we are going to predict here what might be the value of here ml. Okay, so this is the scenario. So here that L value is going to be depend on that n value. So as like that here, so as here L value is going to be depend on that n. So in the same way here ml value is also going to depend on that here L value guys. So this is the simple scenario here. You have to know that. And the total m value means ml value can be calculated by the formula, that is 2L plus 1. So with the help of this particular formula guys, so we are going to find out here means we are going to calculate here the total ml value. Okay, so this is the scenario, very simple. So just like that, if you want to say is that suppose so what will be the L value here? So the total ml value can be calculated with a formula, that is 2L plus 1, and with this particular formula we are going to calculate here the total m value of that particular orbital or which is present in a given subshell. Suppose I have to know here what will be that ml value for that s orbital. So I don't know how many ml values are we are going to get there over, but with the help of this particular formula we can easily calculate it, guys. So let me go with that particular thing. I'll just go show you one particular example for this particular scenario. That is, suppose let us assume. So we are right now going to calculate here ml value for s orbital. Okay, what will be the L value for s orbital? 0. Okay, then substitute there over 2 into, so what is the L value here? 0. For in the case of s orbital I am going to take here. Okay, so what will be the answer? Only 1, isn't it? So that ml value in the case of s orbital will be 1, guys, will be 1. So this is how to calculate here. So that ml value with the help of this particular formula. Okay, so so the total ml value can be calculated, which equals to 2L plus 1 formula. And guys, this particularly the total ml value, what it going to be indicating here, what it actually going to indicating. So the total ml value that can shows that here the number of orbitals which are present in that given subshell. Okay, the number of orbitals that has to be present in that given subshell. We are going to that we have that particular scenario in this particular case. So let me go with this particular statement. The total ml value can be represented or can be representing the total number of orbitals present in a given subshell. Okay, so this is the scenario, guys. Suppose, say for example, suppose ml value, so ml value that can 1, which nothing but here. So suppose, see here the total ml value can be representing the total number of orbitals present in that given subshell. The thing is that, see, you just go with this particular formula. Ml value that has to be ranges from here minus L to plus L, which means that suppose I just have here s orbital. What will be the value of s orbital here? 0. So and ml value is going to be minus 0, plus or minus 0, right? Plus or minus 0. So which means that only one particular orbital we are going to have in that particular s subshell. Okay, suppose in this particular, again I just have that for p orbital L value is going to be here 1. So what will be that ml value then? Ml value is nothing but here minus 1 to plus 1. So their value can be ranges from minus 1 to plus 1, means in between value what will be there? Minus 1, 0, plus 1. Okay, how many number we are going to get here? 3 number, which means that here in p subshell how many orbitals are there? 3 orbitals. That again px, py and pz. Isn't it? This is a very simple scenario, guys. Okay, so we have to know that particular thing. See, suppose with this particular formula, you just go with that. For s orbital we have only one, that is s orbital. Okay, you just concentrate over here. I just have here that formula 2L plus 1. Now I am going to calculate the total number of, so means what will be that this total number of ml indicating here the total number of orbitals present in a given subshell. Okay, so we will go that particular formula here. For s subshell, what will be the L value? 0. So let's substitute here 2 of 0 plus 1. The total answer will be 1 here. So which means only one particular orbital we are going to get in that s subshell. Okay, so that is s itself. In the case of p subshell, what will be the L value in the case of p subshell? 1. Let's substitute here. 2 of L plus 1 is nothing but here 2 into 1 2 and 2 plus 1 3. Okay, in p subshell how many orbitals? 3 orbitals, obviously px, py, pz. So these 3. Just like that, if you go with that here, d subshell means there will be, what will be the L value for d orbital here? 2. Let's substitute here 2l plus 1, 2 of 2 plus 1, which equals to 2 into 2 4 plus 1 5. So here ml value are going to get here 5 means, which means that in the d subshell there will be 5 orbitals there over dxy, dyz, dzx and dx square minus y square and ultimately dz square. So this indicating here, I mean to say is that the total ml value can be representing here the total number of orbitals present in a given subshell. Okay, suppose you are going to get here ml value will be 5 means, which means that 5 orbitals there over. Okay, suppose you are going to get here ml value will be 3 means, so we are going to get here 3 orbitals in that p subshell. We are going to get one value for that ml value means, so which means that only one subshell that has to be, only one orbital that has to be present in that s subshell. So this is the scenario, guys. So this is how to calculate that total number of orbitals present in a given subshell with the help of 2l plus 1 formula. Okay, need not worry about it, but we have to know this particular thing. The value of ml can be depending on that here l value. So the ml value ranges from here minus L to plus L. The total ml value can be calculated by the formula 2l plus 1, most important thing here. And so what the total ml value is going to be representing? That representing here the total number of orbitals present in a given subshell. In a s subshell only one. Okay, in p subshell only 3 orbitals are going to be there, and in d subshell 5 orbitals is going to be there, and in f subshell 7 orbitals is going to be there, guys. So we are going to calculate it with this particular formula. Okay, 2l plus 1, and ultimately, so the most important thing of that magnetic quantum number, what it actually going to indicating means, see that magnetic quantum number, so it wants to indicate that there is orientation in magnetic moment or orientation of orbital in a space. Okay, that majorly indicating this particular scenario here. We have to know this particular thing, guys. Let's write down. And this magnetic quantum number, it indicates the orientation of magnetic moment or orbitals in space. Orientation of magnetic moment or orientation of orbital in a space. So which is the most important thing here. Okay, so what is the significance of magnetic quantum number means? So it actually going to indicating here the orientation of orbital in a space or orientation of magnetic moment in a space. That we have to know about here a magnetic quantum number. Okay, this is the most important informations regarding here magnetic quantum number, guys. We have to know this particular thing, and very first was proposed by here Landé, this magnetic quantum number. And so how do we calculate here ml value means with the help of that here 2l plus 1 formula, and we have to know here l value for each and every orbital. Okay, we have to know here. So since 3 days we are going to discuss this particular scenario means we should know here that what might be that l value for the different orbitals. Okay, s for 0, for p1, for d2 and for f3, guys, we have to know. And ml value can ranges from here minus L2 plus L. Okay, minus L2 plus L. And ultimately what will be the total ml value can be representing here? That can represent the total number of orbitals present in a given subshell. Suppose if you consider ml value is going to be 1 means, which means that only one orbital that has to be there in that particular subshell. Okay, which is nothing but s subshell. Okay, suppose you are going to get here ml value 3 means, so in this particular corresponding subshell there will be 3 probably orbitals has to be there over. Suppose if you consider ml value is going to be get here 5 means, which means that in that particular subshell there will be 5 orbitals are there over. So we just calculated this particular formula, don't worry about it. Based on that L value we are going to substitute here, and we are going to get ultimately ml value. Based on that ml value we are going to have here, we are going to representing the total number of orbitals present in a given subshell, and ultimately it indicates the orientation of orbital in a space. So let me tell you one particular thing here. Okay, so let's make one particular chart here, so then you guys come to know that so how we are going to get a proper orbitals in a particular subshell. Okay, so let's take down, guys. Here I just have here value of L, and next subshell. Based on that value of L we are going to predicting here subshell and the number of orbital present in a subshell with the help of 2l plus 1 formula, and total number of electrons present in given orbital. Okay, with the help of 2 into 2l plus 1 formula. So these two formulas are very much important, guys. That is 2l plus 1 and 2 into 2l plus 1. So 2l plus 1, which is for number of orbitals, and 2 into 2l plus 1, which is total number of electrons that has to be present in that particular orbital. So I just have here a L value like that. I have a L value 0. Suppose L value 0 means the subshell is always be here, S subshell. Okay, next suppose L value is to be 1, which means the subshell is going to be here P. We have to know that particular thing. And suppose value of L is going to be here 2, then that subshell will be D, and value of L is to be here 3, then that subshell obviously F, guys. Okay, so right now we have here S subshell, P subshell, D subshell and F subshell. Right now the task is to be here, we have to find out the total number of orbital that has to be present in these particular subshells. Let us go with this particular formula. Okay, I just have to want to know here, so how many orbitals that has to be present in that S subshell. So what we have to do, we have to use this particular formula. So let's concentrate over here. I am going to just have here this particular thing. Suppose if you substitute in this particular formula, L value will be 0, means what might be the answer? Only 1, right? So which indicate in that S subshell there will be only 1 orbital. Just like that, guys. Suppose in this particular formula, suppose if you can put here L value is to be 1, means what happen? 2 into 1, 2 plus 1. How many orbitals are there over in P subshell? 3. Just like that. So in the same formula, suppose if you can put here L value is to be here 2, means what happened? 2 into 2, 4, 4 plus 1, 5. So in D subshell, how many orbitals are there? 5 orbitals. In the same way, suppose if you can put here L value is to be 3, so then if you can simplify this particular thing, 2 into 3, 6 plus 1, that is 7. Okay, when that value of L is to be 0 and subshell is going to be S. Okay, so in that particular S subshell, how many orbitals are going to be there? Only 1. Suppose value of L is to be 1 and subshell is to be P, in that P subshell, how many orbitals are there? 3 orbitals. In the same way, in the D subshell there will be 5 orbitals, in that F subshell there will be 7 orbitals. Then what might be the total number of electrons that has to be present in these particular orbitals, guys? Okay, if there will be in S orbital there will be only 1 orbital there over, that's why the maximum number of electron that has to be present in that particular, so you know S subshell is to be here 2. Okay, in this particular case P subshell, that is 6, in this particular case 10, in this particular case 14. Okay, so with the help of 2 into 2l plus 1 formula, suppose see here, guys, 2 into 2l plus 1. So total number of electron that has to be present in that given orbitals. Suppose in that S orbital we have to calculate here the total number of electron. So then for S orbital, what will be the L value? 0. Let's substitute here, very simple. 2 of 0 plus 1. So this particular term is going to be 0, and 2 into 1, 2. That's only I write here. Okay, 2. Just like that here, for P, L value is to be 1. Substitute here, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 into 2, 6. That's only I write. Okay, this is the scenario, guys. For D, that is L value 2. For F, L value is 3. Let's substitute in this particular formula. Then you guys are going to get here total number of electrons present in a particular orbital. Okay, so this is the scenario, and this is complete information regarding here magnetic quantum number. So I have to know these particular stuff here. Okay, so let's move it here. The last but not the least quantum number, that is spin quantum number, guys. Much more important, that is also we'll discuss that one. spin quantum number, symbol can be here S. So guys, here the spin quantum number was proposed by here two scientists. One will be here Gold-Schmidt and Uhlenbeck. So these are the scientists who first was discovered here, so proposed here spin quantum number. Okay, so Gold-Schmidt and Uhlenbeck. So these are the scientists, guys. So very first, so they are proposed here spin quantum number. Most important concepts and most important informations we are going to get in this particular case. So we'll discuss one by one. Okay, and the thing is, guys, here see, if you compare here azimuthal quantum number or magnetic quantum number, how those particular quantum number is going to be depending on one another means, here this particular spin quantum number, unlike those, this spin quantum number, it cannot depend on that any particular factor. Okay, as you can see that here azimuthal quantum number L value, that has to be depend on that N value, and just like that magnetic quantum number can depend on that here L value. So unlike those quantum number, here this particular spin quantum number do not depend on that any particular factor. It doesn't depend on that any particular factor, guys. Okay, that's why that spin quantum number means that S value, this is completely independent. S value is going to be here completely independent. So let's take down, that is also most important so information here, that S value, the S value is independent means the value of S cannot be dependent on that any particular factor, either it cannot depend on that N or an L or an ML. Okay, it is completely independent. And here the S can have that here two value, guys. The S can have, means S is the limit here spin quantum number. Okay, S can have two numbers, means two values. Okay, S can have the two values, that is one will be here plus half and another one will be here minus half. Okay, so S can have here two values, one will be here plus half and another will be here minus half, guys. Most important thing. And see, when that S can have that plus or S can have here minus means, suppose if that electron that has to be rotating in that clockwise direction, then only S can have here positive, means plus half. Suppose S that has to be revolve or rotating in that anti-clockwise direction, then only S could have that here minus half value. Okay, and that their particular rotation sign can be indicated that plus half and as well as that minus half, nothing much in that. Okay, yes, is the clockwise direction symbolically can be represented as upward direction, guys. Let us assume that this is just like that. Okay, then it has plus half. And anti-clockwise direction, rotation of electron supposed to be here anti-clockwise direction, means that is downward. Okay, then it going to be here minus half. Suppose, guys, if you can consider here M value, for each M value there will be here S value has to be there over, means for each M value there should be two value of S can be there. Okay, so this is the scenario. Okay, for each M value, for each ML value, there can be two S value will be present. There can be two S value can be present. Two S values in here, plus half and minus half for each ML value. Okay, suppose if you consider ML values to be 1 means, okay, so 1 in the sense, so for that particular electron there will be here plus half or minus half. Okay, means in one particular subshell how many electrons is going to be there? 2 electrons, right? For one electrons plus half, for another electrons minus half, just like that. And guys, we have to know that in each orbital the maximum number of electron is going to be here 2 only. You can take here s orbital, p orbital, d orbital and f orbital. So in this particular orbital means individually, okay, if you can take here for s orbital means, okay, for you just have to write down that for each orbital the maximum number of electron will be 2, okay. If you can have here, say for example for s, okay, 2 orbital means in s only 1 orbital, right? So maximum accommodation of electron will be here 2. For p we have here 3 orbital means px, py, pz, okay. So in this case what happened, the maximum accommodation of electron for each orbital, see here 1, 2, 3. So I just so filled electrons in this form, but so for filling that electrons we have certain rules, guys. So we have to follow that rules, and thereafter we just filling that electron have to be in a well manner, okay. I just randomly I just filled here, but it has certain rules, we'll see there over. But the thing is that what I wanted to say that each orbital having that here maximum number of accommodation of electron will be here 2 only. So in p, px, py, pz 3 orbitals are there over. So with that particular 3 orbitals total number of electrons is going to be here 6. Just like that here for d we have in d subshell 5 orbitals, each orbital having here 2 electrons. This is the scenario, okay. For each orbital the maximum number of electron will be here 2, guys. So this is the scenario, and so let's go with that some more information here. See guys, in each orbital there will be here 2 electron, as I told you that. But thing is that each electron having that here magnetic moment, okay. Each electron that has to be present in that particular orbital, it has some sort of magnetic moment. Suppose if 2 electrons having that opposite spin means, so those particular electrons magnetic moment is going to be cancelled with one another, and obviously there will be a mutual magnetic field has to be taking place. Means how this particular scenario is going to be happen, we'll see that. See, let us have here, I just have one particular thing, okay. This is south pole and which is north pole. Suppose assume that electron that has to be revolving in that clockwise direction. Hence if electron that has to be revolving means it going to produce some sort of magnetic moment. This is like that. Okay, so and this particular electron having that here positive, value that is plus half. Suppose one more electron has to be there here, and this particular electron is going to be revolving in that anti-clockwise direction, okay. That also can have here some sort of magnetic moment. So when these particular electrons have that magnetic moment with that opposite spin, so their magnetic moment is going to be here cancelled with one another. But so in between these two, the mutual magnetic field is going to be arises, guys. So this is nothing but here a mutual magnetic field. So the magnetic momentum of that particular electrons, each electron is going to be cancelled with one another. Why? Because this particular electron is going to be revolving that clockwise and which is anti-clockwise. Hence their magnet means, and obviously they should have that opposite spin, guys. Okay, due to opposite spin what happened, their magnetic moment is going to be cancelled with one another, but there could be here a mutual magnetic field that has to be arises between those two particular electrons. Okay, so that's why we have to know here what kind of spin that electron that has to be had when that has to be occupy some certain orbitals. Okay, let me know that here. So we have to know that a spin of that particular electrons usually, okay, if you can consider one particular orbital means, in that particular orbital supposed to be electrons having that same spin, it would not be possible, guys. Why? Because the repulsion has to be taking place. That's why. So these kind of filling of that electrons or accommodation of electrons having that same spin individual orbital, it could not be like that. Okay, it couldn't happen. And moreover, okay, so supposed to be, for understanding purpose, we have to know, suppose if that electron having that same spin, that has to occupy some sort of orbitals means, then this kind of spin we can call it as here parallel spin. Parallel spin. Why do we call it as parallel spin? Means each electron having here same spin, guys, that's why. Or either you can write here, so in this way or in this way also. Okay, both are same. Suppose if that electrons having that here opposite spin, if electrons having here opposite spin, such kind of arrangement we can call it as here paired spin, or spin paired, that is parallel spin, that is spin paired. Okay, so this is the scenario, guys. So this is the stuff we have to know in this particular case, that is spin quantum number. Okay, and most probably we have to know this particular thing. So major significance of spin quantum number is nothing but what that particular spin quantum number is going to be indicating means, which indicates here the direction of spin of that particular electrons. So as we know that here, see the clockwise direction and anti-clockwise direction. So these kind of rotation or these kind of direction can be known by here spin quantum number, most important thing. So that is majorly indicating here. So it indicates the direction of spin of electron. Okay, so this is the means all about information regarding here spin quantum number, guys. Most important thing we have to know that here. Okay, so S cannot depend on that any particular factor, and S can have that here two values, one will be plus half and another will be minus half, and moreover each ml value could have that here two values of S. Okay, and usually the thing is that, and it indicating here the direction of spin of the electron, and for each ml value there can be two s value will be present. Obviously I just told you that right now. And for each orbital the maximum number of electron will be here 2, for s will be 2, and for p 6, and for d 10, and for f 14. But in those particular orbitals the maximum accommodation of electron is going to be 2, guys. So we have to know that thing. And for clockwise direction plus half, anti-clockwise direction minus half, and upward direction for clockwise and downward direction for an anti-clockwise direction. So these are the major stuff we have to know here. So about spin quantum number. So this is all about here complete quantum numbers, guys. So these if you can know these particular informations means, then it will very helpful for your competitive examination as well. So then you can easily crack that questions based on these particular concept. Okay, so then let me go with that here one of the most important concept, that is electronic configurations, guys. So we should know these particular concept as well. So we'll go with that. So some important rules are there over based on that energies of the orbital. So we have to know that thing. So with the help of this particular rule, so we are going to be able to fulfill that electrons in a specific orbitals. Okay, guys. So let's go with that here. One of the most important concept, that is electronic configuration. So guys, what is mean by electronic configuration means, see, electronic configuration is nothing but here it's an arrangement of an electrons in a particular orbit, in a particular orbital. Okay, not an orbit, so it's an orbital. See, the thing is that we are going to arrange a particular electrons in a specific orbital, means that arrangement completely based on that here energies of the orbitals, guys. Completely depend on that here energies of the orbitals. So that we can call it as on here electronic configuration. So electronic configuration is nothing but, that is nothing but here the arrangement of an electrons in a particular orbitals according to their particular energy. Okay, that we can call it as in here electronic configuration. So since here electron that has to be filled in that particular orbital based on that energies means, so how do we get to know that here what will be the energies of an particular orbital? some particular orbital having that more energy, some particular orbital having that lesser energy. But how do we know that which particular orbital having that more energy and which particular orbital having that less energy? So it has some certain rules, guys. So we'll discuss that particular thing, and let me go with here very first rules for that electronic configuration. So will be that is Aufbau principle. We'll see that what does that principle is going to indicate means. Okay, so before that, electronic configuration is nothing but the arrangement of electrons in a particular orbital based on their energies, guys. Most important thing, this is based on their energies. So we have to focus on this particular thing here, based on their energies. So let me go with it here. Very first rule, okay, so which will helpful to that understand how to write that actual configuration for a particular atom. Okay, let's go with it here. Very first rule, that is Aufbau principle. So let's discuss what does that Aufbau principle wanted to say here. Okay, most important thing, guys. Yes, Aufbau principle. See, Aufbau principle says that yes, the electron that has to be enter into that different atomic orbitals. Okay, when that electron supposed to be is going to be enter into that particular means different atomic orbital, means that particular thing is completely depend on that here their energies. Okay, so this particular thing completely based on their particular energies. So based on their energies of an orbital, electron is used to enter to that particular orbitals, guys. So if you can take here S, P, D and F, so we have lot many orbitals, means these particular orbitals supposed to be electron have to be enter into these kind of orbitals, means so that has to be depend on that here one particular factor, which is their particular energies. So this only that Aufbau is wanted to say here. So let's go with that particular statement, and Aufbau principle says that here the electrons enter into the different atomic orbital. Atomic orbital is nothing but here we have here S, P, D, F, right? Atomic orbitals based on in the increasing order of their energy, in the increasing order of their energy. So this is the stuff, guys, here, increasing order of their energy, most important thing. So Aufbau principle says that if an electron supposed to be enter into the different atomic orbital, means we have S, P, D and F. Supposed to be electron that has to be enter into that among of that particular orbital, means so which depends on that here is completely based on that increasing order of their energies. Increasing order means from lowest to higher. Okay, that is this particular order we have to maintain here. So the electrons enter into the different atomic orbitals based on in the increasing order of their energies. So this is only that Aufbau principle, okay, says that. Okay, so but guys, we have to know one important thing here. So Aufbau says already increasing order of their energies, but how do we know that which orbital having that higher energy or which orbital having that lower energy? How do we get to know this particular scenario here? Okay, so we have to know one particular rule here. Okay, in order to understand that the energies of that particular orbital with the help of one particular rule, that rule we can call to be as here N plus L rule. N plus L rule. So this N plus L rule which can determines here which orbital having that lower energy and which orbital having that here higher energy. With the help of that N plus L rule, we are going to get to know that energies of an orbital, thereby electron is going to be enter into that a lower energy level or a higher energy level. We will see that. Okay, what will be that N plus L rules wanted to say here? Okay, let's concentrate here N plus L rule. So that N plus L rule can determine here what is this going to be determined, guys? So that can determine that energies of the orbitals. Okay, n plus L rule can determine energies of the orbital. Okay, we'll see that what are the rules of that n plus L. N plus L wanted to say is that very first rule, that is rule number 1. Okay, rule number 1. So guys, if you consider two particular subshell, okay, we have generally two subshell. So among those two subshell, one particular subshell having that lower energy, that particular subshell only electron is going to be filled first. Okay, among those two particular subshell, which subshell having that here lowest n plus L value, that particular subshell having that here lowest energy, and in that particular subshell only electron is going to be filled first. Okay, so based on that here n plus L rule, the very first rule is to be here, we have supposed to have the two subshell. Among those two subshell, the one of the subshell having here a lowest n plus L value, so hence that particular subshell having that lowest energy, and to that particular subshell electron is going to be filled first. Okay, thereafter the orbital having that here higher n plus L value. So this is the very first rule can be given here, that n plus L rule. Will have that here statement could be like that: if two subshell having if two subshell not two, let me go with that. In a two subshell, one subshell, suppose one subshell having lowest n plus L value, that subshell possesses lowest energy. So that subshell only filled first. Okay, let me tell you that example here. So okay, let me understand this particular rule by taking one particular example. I just have here 4s orbital and 3d orbitals, guys. Okay, so we have here two different orbitals, but we don't know which particular subshell having that lowest n plus value and the lowest 3d value. Okay, lowest n plus L value, we don't know that among those two particular different orbital. So the rule says that here, which particular subshell having that lowest n plus L value, that subshell having that here lowest energy, so that particular subshell get filled first, isn't it? So let me calculate here for a subshell what will be the n plus L value. What is the n number here? N value here 4. What is the L value for S subshell? 0. So what is the total answer? 4. So what will the n plus L value for 4s? We are going to get here 4. Let me go with it here 3D, guys. N plus L value for the 3D. What will be the n value for 3D subshell? 3. And what will be the L value for D subshell here? 2. So total 3 plus 2, 5. So guys, we have here evidence, that is 4s having that here n plus L value 4 and 3D having n plus L value here 5. So according to that rule, those particular orbital having that here lowest n plus value, it could have that here lowest energy. So then you guys have to tell me that, so among those 4s and 3D, which one having that here lowest n plus L value? Obviously 4s. Why? Because it has 4 and 3D which has 5. So since here 4s having that here lower means lowest n plus l value, that's why it has lowest energy. As compared to 3d, 4s has here lowest energy. That's why 4s orbital, in that particular 4s orbital, the electrons gets filled first. Okay, so this is the very first important rule that can be given by here, n plus l rule, guys. Suppose the scenario would be like that. Suppose to be assume that if two subshell having that same n plus l value, then which particular orbital is going to be get filled first, guys? Okay, we should know this particular thing also, so we'll go with that particular scenario. Okay, so we have two subshell. Among those two subshell, one particular subshell having that lowest n plus value, hence it has lowest energy, hence that particular orbital gets filled first. So then rule second says that here, if in a two subshell, if two subshells having same n plus l value, then how do we get to know which particular orbital having that lowest energy and which particular orbital having that higher energy? We should know that thing. So that completely based on that here n value, which, so in that particular case, which particular orbital having that here lowest n value, that particular orbital having that here lowest energy, hence electron get to fill that particular orbital first. Okay, so this is a scenario. Okay, if two subshell having same n plus n value, then which subshell having lowest number of lowest n value, that subshell having, or that subshell possesses lowest energy, hence that subshell gets filled first. So this is the scenario, guys. So let me go with that here example. Suppose we have here 4s orbital and 3p orbital. Okay, 4s and 3p. Okay, so we have to calculate right now n plus l value for both the particular orbital. For 4s, n plus l value will be, see that what will be 4 means n value will be 4, and what will be the l value for s? 0. So total n plus l value for that 4s orbital would be 4, guys. Okay, for 3p, so for 3p, so n plus l value for 3p orbital, what will be the n value here? 3, and what will be the n value for 3p here? Means for p 1, so 3 plus 1 4. So here 3p and 4s having that here same n plus l value, but among those two particular orbital, which orbital having that here lowest p value, means lowest n value? Lowest n value would be here 3p, which is 3, and in the case of 4s, the n value will be here 4. 3 that has to be smaller as compared to here 4, as we know that, right? So that's why among that 4s and 3p, the lowest energy can be possessed by here 3p subshell, means 3p orbital. That's why the electron that has to be filled first in that 3p before that 4s. Okay, so electron that has to be filled in that 3p orbital. Why? Because 3p having that here lowest energy. Why? Because, so since here 4s orbital and 3p orbital having that same n plus l value, but the thing is that among those two particular orbital, the n value that has to be very smaller for that 3p orbitals, guys. That's why the electron that has to be filled in this particular case, that is for 3p orbital. So this is, you know, all about here n plus l rule. Based on that n plus l rule, we are going to, you know, have an idea about that energies of a particular orbital. So based on that energy, electron is going to be filled first in that lowest energy orbitals, than that of higher energy. So orbital. Okay, so Hofbauer principle says that the thing is that electron that has to be enter into that different atomic orbital based on that increasing order of their energies. So that increasing order of their energies, how do we get to know? With the help of N plus L rule. It has two major rules here. Based on these two particular rule, we are going to have that a particular orbital that having lower energy or some particular orbital having that higher energy. But the thing is that ultimately those particular subshell having that lowest energy, electron that has to be filled in that particular orbital. So this is the important stuff here. We have to know this particular thing. Okay, let me go with here one more particular statement, that is Pauli's exclusion principles, guys. So we'll see that what will be that particular statement could be Pauli's exclusion principle. Pauli's exclusion principle. See guys, this Pauli's exclusion principle is going to be deals with here only degenerated orbitals. Degenerated orbital. What does the degenerate, the term indicates here? The degenerate is nothing but here those orbital having here equal energies. Okay, such kind of orbital we can call to be as in here degenerated orbitals. So in such orbitals only this particular Pauli's exclusion principle is going to be applied. Okay, thus Pauli's exclusion principle is going to be deals with here those atomic orbitals having here degenerated orbitals. Degenerated orbital, which means those particular orbital having that here equal energy. So keep in your mind that is equal energy. So such kind of orbital we can call to be as in here degenerated. Except yes, we have here P, D and F. So these three orbitals are nothing but degenerated orbitals. Why? Because those particular orbitals having their in those particular subshell the orbital having that equal energies, guys. Okay, so let me write that particular point here. Pauli's exclusion principle that can be deals for is going to be deals with degenerated orbitals such as P, D and F. So these particular orbitals are nothing but here degenerated. Then what will be the statement that has to be given by here Pauli's exclusion principle? We'll see that. So what will be the statement has been given by Pauli's exclusion principle? We'll study that particular thing. And so guys, so that Pauli's exclusion principle says that no two electron in an atom can have that same set of 4 quantum numbers. No two electron in an atom can have that same set of 4 quantum numbers. We have